Hello, John Dilworth here. We are going to begin a new week. Last week was pretty exciting, and I'm just going to share a little bit with you, just between you and I, because we don't want to upset the powers that exist. The powers that exist. Well, that's what's so funny about animation, is we could act silly. And what was so lovely about working with our colleagues was we could act silly together and make each other laugh. Because it's not an easy job. There's so much stress just to perform, just to get things right, to make our deadlines. As our friend Sean agrees, everybody wants their cartoons to have substance, and it's a rhetorical question, I'm certain, because what is substance, right? You have to start thinking about that. How do you define that? So I have this hand motion here. It's going to be super exaggerated, and it's going to be totally unseeable by you. You can't see it because I'm doing blue pencil. It's early. Sometimes it's like that. If you have insomnia, you start thinking of the bigger issues of the world and keeps you from sleep. You might as well take advantage of it. Get up, create art. I was talking to our friend Myers last night, and we were discussing this imperative we have to make more art. And the drawback, the challenge, the new challenge of not having your art seen. He's a performer, and he needs people to see him perform. So we need people. We need people. They're not the problem. Do we continue to make art when nobody can see it? In other words, if you're in the desert, do you still make art? That's the question. Because then that opens up other questions. What are you doing it for? You do it because you have to do it. Myers is something like 300 albums. Never met a kid so prolific. His latest album is up, and it's going to be released soon, and I'll share that with all of you, because it's worth it. He's really a talented kid. Of course, he's going to do our music for HOWL. He just volunteered to do it, and that's great. So, our little pink pooch is not dead. We've been working extremely hard. I haven't an agent, so I have to do kind of agent work. And I was on the phone all week with the executives, working out the various challenges to doing a project this size and in this climate. And I really believe that we have made progress. Progress, my friends, progress. And now, like I said, this is just between you and I. and anything could happen, but I don't think anything negative is going to come after this. We have some very good allies, but I don't know what's going on over there. Things are changing because of this AT&T buyout and the rise of HBO Max, and what's going to happen to all our animation. There's going to be more of it, of course, but what about these other venues? The world is changing, as you know. I have to tell you, there's something bananas about me. Why am I drawing so small? And of course, none of my erasers work, because I don't have an eraser that's so small. What's going on with you, Dilworth? I have to get in really close to get some of these details. And there we are. I'm doing it. Okay, so what did I did the dumbest dumb thing. I put this hand on it on a HOWL drawing. And see, it's early and I'm not fully there. However, I think this is what makes it fun. That animation's happening everywhere, at any time, because we make it so. Can't sleep, get up and draw. Work on your film. And then as the rooster crows and you have to get up and really, have your Java and then go hustle for some money, for work, so you can continue doing your art. And it's a struggle all the time. So as long as you understand that, then it's not a joy. I mean, it's not a horror. It's a joy. The idea is to make it elective, your suffering, right? The artist's life, never a happy one. That's so now I'm going to take this off because I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking of animation. So I'm really looking forward to writing. I just want to write, and once we get our deal, I talk like a sophomore. But that's it. That's what I'm thinking about. It's like the perpetual child in terms of we're not going to be disappointed. We're not going to be taken down by disappointment. I'm going to put this match line here. Because we have this inner light, man. We have we have the humor. We have the life. We make things move. We make funny drawings. Yeah. I did do comics. I was doing comics when I was in university. I did comics, and I thought I would. And a lot of I had lots of friends who were doing graphic novels. Those were the best, and I was heavily into that stuff. I loved it. Graphic novels, and with so many different styles. And of course, my buddy Linda Saminsky, she was heavy into that. We would go to comic book stores just to read all the underground graphic novels. Those were the best because they were about real art, their lives of artists, and they would, write about them, draw them, and some of the really better ones, the ones that knew what they were doing, they made money. They were able to make money by just sell in volume. I mean, the message gets out, but it's such a tricky business. You really have to have the passion for it. Now, I know you can't. You're thinking, this is madness what Dilworth is doing now. How can he possibly share this? Well, I'm getting some very tight hand business. And I blue line it, of course, first, so that I have a guide. And it's tricky because I'm trying to favor one side, and I need an electron microscope, right, so you can see that. But don't you worry. Let me see what else is there. And what about Lim animating for the first time using her tracing paper? That's just beautiful. You know, look at that. Renaissance happens all the time. All the time. And hand-drawn animation. Well, yeah, video game Cuphead, right? We're talking about that. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. The thing is that we have to find the medium that most that talks expresses us. And sometimes that takes time. As one executive likes to say, go away and experiment. And I agree. But then we get bogged down in the dramas of our lives and dissatisfactions, and we forget that there's art. And if we can hold on to that beauty of creating, and the meditative factor of it. I mean, a lot of this animation for me is everything else goes away. The sounds of trucks and police and street philosophers, all that just disappears. But eventually I have to put my pencil down and go into the real world. And that's what we can do. We can go both. We can go both because we elect to do so. And remember that it's an elective. Oh my God, I just thought of something. Joseph Campbell, one of his great, the thing about comparative mythologies, comparative religions, is that you get everything. You get 10,000 years more of where we've been and how we got here. And that puts perspective on your life and helps to navigate what's going on at any time. But you see, he talked about, a fall doesn't necessarily have, and we're talking about falls, that could be anything. That could be personal disappointments, like your lover left you, or you didn't get the job of your life, or you were jilted at the wedding, or any of these things. That can derail a person. And he's talking about a fall. Like it could be the fall from grace, or fall from the garden. But if you make it elective, then the experience is transformed. And I know that sounds a little too hippie, but I get that. You're conscious of it. And others speak about these places where you trip and stumble are where all the gold is, where the treasure is. And you should pay attention to that. Now, these are just random thoughts. They're not really going anywhere. So you can just ignore it. And this is the little stuff. The little stuff is, I know it's totally dull. You like the big, broad action. So do I. But these little stuff have to be done. And they also offer us a little pause. I mean, even though things are going on, action's going on, just a little break. So he's here. Jim is here, right? So that is C. I just had to look for the C6. So that's what we are. So I'm just going to have him go, no. And I'll have Anthony shoot this, and then we'll test this scene together to see what works. He was here, but we're still working on this unicorn shot, and it's big, it's huge. We looked at some of his work and it's looking amazing. So we'll have, okay, so here he's just, that should work. And if it doesn't, we will 6, 7, 8. That's all it is. It's so simple. It's 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6. Easy, easy. Just buying us some 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6. And there's really nothing to it. It's not worth more than that. And there's that, and then we go back up here. We have E, right? So that was 6, 7, this is 8, and we can go back to 7, and then that will be 6, and there's the beat. I like that we have these beats. And then he's going to do something else. Let's find out so we know what's happening next. So he grabs his head, and that happens here. And then what does he do? Oh, and then he leaves. Oh, so that's really great. He grabs his head, and that's a good place to break off. Maybe we'll just look at something. Let me see if we where is this? Oh, hold on. What did I do here? What did I do? I did something dumb. That was C3. I did something dumb. Oh, what am I supposed to do here? I've totally forgotten. I'm confused. Now I'm confused. I'll have to go back and look at everything because we have two bodies. That's him. I think he's supposed to just have arms. But I traced his whole body and I put his neck on. Oh, wait a minute. Was I going to... Wait a minute. Let me see something. Oh, maybe that's just an overlay. Maybe I put that over as an overlay. Yeah, I used this old drawing, C3, but then this is supposed to go over it. Okay, so I'm not so dumb. And you see how complicated this is. It's not easy. You constantly have to be on. Let's see if we can get our shirt. Right, so I have to fix those sheets. I don't know how I'm going to do that, because I already did that. All right, well, we'll figure this out. You got your own stuff to figure out, and we'll meet back here at some point. And until then, stay animated.